Yes, this reflection will be related to rowing. Good afternoon, Mr. Kidd, Mrs. Bat. I know what some of you are thinking. Oh God, another prefect homily. That's going to be way too cringy and long. I know some of you might fall asleep, because chapel is sometimes understood as a nap time. Well, I encourage you to stay awake. Maybe for some of you it's the first time you listen to a full prefect reflection. I'm looking at you, Shane. That being said, I would like to ask Sasha, Shane, Simone, and Duben to stand up for the remainder of the speech. In my journey in Ridley, I've learned so many good and bad lessons, but the one that has stuck with me the most is something I learned to control and get better at, especially in rowing: self-talk. The first time I really encountered self-talk, it's actually a funny story, because I always knew I had it in the back of my mind. I always remember that first time I really encountered it, during my 3rd month of winter training on the rowing team. It was my first year here at Ridley, and it was a famous Super Saturday named by Coach Ron. Basically, to go full effort on the air, every piece for 500 meters. Back then, we did around 5 pieces, and I would go around 8. By the 3rd piece, I was reaching what is known in rowing as a pain cave. It's when you reach that point where your mind tells you to stop because your body can't take it anymore. But actually, it's a proven fact that at that moment when your mind starts telling you to stop, you're still only at 40% of your body capacity. I entered the pain cave thinking to myself how much my body was hurting, and then you start to get these thoughts. Why am I doing this? What's even the point? I should just stop. Then I realized that the only way I could get out of this negative mindset, was by distracting myself from the pain and transforming this negative self-talk that I had in my mind. I started thinking, just close your eyes, get to the next 100, close your eyes, count 10 more strokes. I imagined myself on Henley Island and visualized the course and how long it would take me to finish. I was kidding, you guys don't have to stand the whole time. You guys can sit down. And then I saw him about finished. And I thought to myself, how did I pull that off? I realized that talking to myself through it and splitting it up the piece into smaller bits helped me reach the end. From that moment on, I started to pay more attention to my thoughts. I applied this self-awareness to other aspects of my life and started to see personal growth. In my relationships, I started to notice that when there's a conflict in groups, I could solve the problem more effectively by looking at the details of the conflict and talking to each person, instead of being overwhelmed by the fact that it was a huge problem. This might also help with those fake rumors going around all the time. Because when I applied to universities back in the fall to the States, I said I applied to 15 different schools. I saw it as a big goal. I was able to finish my applications early just because I tackled one application at a time, focusing each school one by one. Oh, and I also started working on them in July. I'm sure most of you have noticed the pandemic by now. And I know most of you have probably had to quarantine before. Well, when I arrived last year to start grade 11, all international students had to quarantine for 14 days. I was quite scared of that. I know most of you have quarantined for way more than that, and I still don't know how you guys do it. I wanted to make my quarantine as productive as possible, so I split it up in 2 days. I gave myself 3 goals per day. Talk to someone on the phone, do some type of exercise, and spend some time reading. I didn't want to just watch Netflix all day. And believe me, I was watching Netflix for a big chunk of the time. So what's my point in telling you all this random life experience I had? Well, my point is to encourage everyone to start trying to notice their own self-talk and ask if the way you're talking to yourself is serving you. Seniors, we're graduating in less than 3 months or 4 months. That personally scares me. I don't even know where I'm going next year yet. Learning how to talk to ourselves and using this to our advantage will help us in college. For the grade 11s, you'll still have some time before the pressure gets real. You can use self-talk to work through your classes, focusing on each assignment and test one step at a time. Because believe me, those grade 11 grades matter a lot. Right, Devin? For grade 9s and 10s, you're in a moment of self-exploration. And being able to hear your thoughts and actively focus on certain aspects in your life can help you tremendously with self-growth in the upcoming years. You could try new things to help you find that positive self-talk. New sports, new club, new friends. Last but not least, the faculty, and any adult. I'm sure most of you have already figured out by now how to use positive self-talk. If by any case you haven't, don't panic, because self-talk is something that can't be rushed. I don't consider myself close to being an expert yet. I think it's a process. It's a process about paying attention to when negative self-talk appears and start thinking about how to transform that negative self-talk into more positive self-talk. But how did I get better at self-talk? Well, I listened and paid attention to myself. I realized that the key is also thinking about taking smaller steps to bigger goals. And I just applied it to every situation in my life. I believe it's something individually anyone can find. Once you find it, you gotta learn how to know yourself and understand your self-talk in order to help you grow and achieve your goals. Thank you and have a good one.